Alright, so this is going to be my review of Street Fighter versus Darkstalkers. This is a comic that has been one of those white whale books, kind of like when I was talking about my Vampirella Alien crossover, where that was one of the comics that was kind of like a white whale for me, and this was another one. In fact, funny enough, I actually found this in the same comic shop where I found Vampirella Aliens. It was a comic shop in New Orleans while I was visiting there, and yeah, found that and found both volumes of this. There was a lot of other books that I wanted to get, but I only have so much money. But yeah, so what is Street Fighter versus Darkstalkers? Street Fighter versus Darkstalkers was one of the first major... I can't remember if this came out before or after Street Fighter versus G.I. Joe. Actually, I think this might... I could be wrong, but I think this came out first. Actually, no, I take that back. I think this came out second. I can't remember, and my head hurts. But Street Fighter vs. Darkstalkers was a comic that Udon Comics was really excited about. Like, they were psyched for this book, and a lot of people were psyched because it was Capcom's two major fighting games crossing over in an 8-issue series. Like, usually, yeah, 8 issues, an 8-issue crossover these days is like unheard of. There's only been 2 times where I can imagine it's been 8 issues. Like, it's usually the cutoff is 6. Usually, like, even the most ambitious crossovers are like the highest they'll get is 6. 8 is almost unheard of these days. The only times I've seen 8 issues, and technically it's 9 because we get a 0 issue too, if you want to add that in here. But basically for this comic, and also the other one that had 8 issues was the Star Trek Doctor Who crossover. But yeah, so what is Street Fighter vs. Darkstalkers? Street Fighter vs. Darkstalkers is a series where Jeddah has teamed up with Gil. Yeah, you guys remember Gil from the Street Fighter series? Also, this apparently takes a lot from the Udon comics. So while this does mention a lot of the games and a lot of the game continuity, the big thing with this is that it takes a lot of the canon from... It takes a lot of the canon from the comics, so this is more in canon with the Udon comics of Street Fighter than anything else. Furthermore, we also get a lot of these side stories as well, but the main story doesn't, like cycling back to Gil, because that was the whole point of this. Gil, remember that guy from Street Fighter, from the first few Street Fighter games? Gil finds himself teaming up with Jeddah, one of the main villains of Darkstalkers, and they have a plan to rewrite reality. In doing so, they have to find souls of both negative and positive energy. So they go around kidnapping various Street Fighter and Darkstalker characters and bringing them into the Makai, which is a Darkstalker reality, in order to create a being that will destroy and unmake reality. That's the story. Meanwhile, the main focus of this, really, if you're really thinking you're going to get like characters like Ryu and Dimitri and Pyron or other major Street Fighter characters, they're here, you just don't see a lot of them. In fact, Ryu is only here for 2 pages max. Yeah, why is it... This is like 2 times now. Again, I haven't read the Street Fighter TMNT crossover. I'm waiting for trade on that one. But even there, Ryu is solely underutilized. He is solely underutilized. And don't get me wrong, the fact that the main focus is Chun-Li and Morrigan is really cool. In fact, even Akuma gets some stuff in here too. And also, it is fun to see my boy John Talbane, John Talbane be a main character as well as Sagat. My 2 mains in the 2 separate games, Talbane and Sagat. But yeah, it is cool to see them here. But there's no this is more of a hodgepodge of characters all teaming up and more or less fighting while we have some backup stories here and there until we get to the main focus, which isn't revealed until issue 5. So it's them just kind of walking around and fighting random beings, while the other half is Morrigan putting together a team of other Darkstalkers alongside Akuma in order to stop Jeddah, and they all just kind of intersect at the last second. And the last 2 issues are really the main focus of the story. And that's really it. That's kind of the thing with this comic, is that it really is more like, hey, check this out. Also, I will give credit, though, that some of the alternate covers are parodies of Universal Monster posters, which were really cool. Like, there's one of Victor and Blanca fighting. It's a homage to Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. And there's also they really do take some fun stuff with these homage covers. Like, there's one of Superman versus Muhammad Ali, and it's Dimitri fighting Balrog. And then you have Marvel versus DC homage cover with that one. So there is some good stuff here. And they actually make a lot of jokes at Rico, because for those who don't know, in the cartoon, the god-awful Darkstalkers cartoon that was short-lived, they always call Rico a curiously attractive fish man, and that's a very much running joke in this whenever they bring up Rico. A very curiously attractive fish man. But yeah, do I think this is good? It's alright. Like, it's nothing special, but I was kind of hoping for this being my white whale. I was really hoping for just a wee bit more. Is it cool to finally get, like, some Darkstalker love? Yeah. The writers clearly know their Darkstalker lore, and this does feel like they really wanted to push a Udon comic Darkstalker book. In fact, I think they got one for a short time. But yeah, this, if you always wanted to see Capcom's 2 biggest fighting games meet up in a crossover, here you go, because I don't think we'll ever get that in a video game. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, if you've read Street Fighter, and yes, this is volume 2, I should mention it's 2 volumes, but yeah, you guys tell me in the comments below if you've read Street Fighter versus Darkstalkers. Let me know in the comments below. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.